I don't really know the answer to that one.
Yeah, come on, bro. What are you asking me?
I was trying to
I'm not Bill Gates.
All right, welcome to Conversations with MissionX. I'm here today with Zan, and we're going to be talking about what it means to be a force for good. There's so much kind of negative happening in the world right now, and we just want to kind of speak a little bit of positivity into people's lives. And where I wanted to start off with was, and a lot of people have probably seen it, is like the Netflix documentary that Zac Efron did. And what I wanted to start off with was just get your thoughts on what did you think of it? Did it resonate with you? Was it good?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the documentary. I thought it was super eye-opening. Like, there was a lot of things that they talked about that I actually had no clue about, like things about the environment. Like, I like that they went around the world and saw different people and different things that are going on in the earth that we probably aren't aware of, and it was just really eye-opening for me.
Yeah, and sort of the same thing for me. I was like, it's kind of cool that they're shedding a different light on some of these known problems that we have. One of the things where my mind was going, because it just kind of goes, is hey, there's science in one bucket and there's faith in another bucket, and sometimes people keep these things separate, but I'm just wondering can these two things come together in any way for good in the world?
Yeah, I think we all have a responsibility to be aware and know what's going on around the world in terms of people, in terms of important topics around the world, even helping our environment, little things like recycling, little things like that we could be doing to make our place a better place.
Yeah, and I just want to jump on the even just recycling, because oftentimes people think oh, I gotta do this crazy big thing, but even just when you're driving and not dropping the wrapper on the floor, but it's okay, I'm actually gonna recycle this. And oftentimes you think okay, I'm just being a good global citizen, but I actually take a step back and think about hey, the Bible actually says that we need to be stewards of what God's given us, right? And so it's yeah, I need to actually be taking care of what God's given me. So what are just kind of get some thoughts from you, but what are some other examples of things that we can be good stewards of in our life?
The one thing that comes to my mind is our finances. That's a big thing. With whatever God's blessed us with, it's up to us to be doing the right things with our money and not being foolish with it, or even our homes or anything like that. Whatever God's given us, I think it's really important to just be managing it the best that we can and doing the right thing.
Yeah, on the finances bit, I remember that for the longest time I've wanted to say okay, can I free up some money to actually use it for good, to actually help people. And I'll be honest, for me it's been hard because there's always hey, you gotta pay the mortgage, you gotta pay daycare, which is another mortgage, yeah. Right? But there's so much stuff that goes on,
yeah.
And I think that it's this inaction that hurts us a lot. I'm just curious to get your thoughts on how do we move from seeing things to actually acting on things.
I think when you think of things like that, you immediately go to I have to do something really big to participate, but sometimes it can be something really small, a small baby step to the right direction, maybe not the fires for example, but maybe even if you had a friend in need or something like that. So I think baby steps are important and we shouldn't count them out.
So if we think about and maybe we'll just end on this, but if we think about the ways in which the next generation can actually be a force for good, beyond just kind of those simple things, what's something that they can actually kind of participate in a deeper way?
Yeah, I think even if you don't know what that first step looks like or how you want to help, I think just asking God and getting his guidance and asking him to speak to you about how you can be this force for good is really important, and I feel that he will guide you if we ask. So I definitely think that's something that they can do.
Yeah, and I think to that point, just kind of ending on this, is like, I think the biggest thing on being a force for good is just being available. If you could be available, then you can actually see change happen. It's often because we're too busy that we don't actually have the opportunity to cause change. And so with that, let's end. Thanks so much for the conversation. Thanks, everyone.